what Jesus really meant when he said ask. Lesson 1. The forgotten power of 3 simple letters. There exists, in this vast universe, a principle so profound, yet so simple, that most of us have overlooked its tremendous power. It's hidden within 3 small letters that form one of the most important words ever spoken. That word is ask. When Jesus said, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. He wasn't merely offering a religious platitude. He was revealing a fundamental law of life that operates with the precision of mathematics and the reliability of physics. This principle works whether you're a devout believer or someone who's never set foot in a church. Most people have reduced this powerful teaching to mere prayer, a ritual of words directed heavenward with hope but little expectation. But what Jesus meant by ask goes far deeper than casual requests, uttered in moments of need. He was describing the activation of a mental mechanism that sets in motion forces far greater than most of us realize. When we truly ask, with focus, clarity, and genuine belief, something remarkable happens in both our minds and the world around us. It's like turning on a powerful searchlight that begins scanning for opportunities, solutions, and pathways that were always there but remained invisible to us before. I once knew a young man named David who worked in a small factory position with limited prospects. One day he took this principle of asking seriously. Rather than wishing for a better life or complaining about his circumstances, he clearly asked for the opportunity to develop his leadership abilities. Within weeks, he noticed management tasks that needed attention. He volunteered to help, showing initiative where others showed indifference. Within a year, he was promoted to supervisor, and within 3 years, he managed the entire operation. What changed? Not the world around him, but his perception of it. By genuinely asking, he activated his mental faculties to recognize opportunities that were always present but previously unseen. This is what Jesus understood about human potential. We are equipped with magnificent minds capable of remarkable achievement, but these capabilities remain dormant until activated through the power of asking. Think about it. A radio surrounds you with invisible signals carrying music, news, and conversations. But until you turn the dial and tune in to a specific frequency, those broadcasts remain unheard. Similarly, opportunities, ideas, and solutions surround you right now, but they remain inaccessible until you tune in by asking with clear intention. The word ask is not passive, it's an active principle. When you truly ask, you engage your conscious and subconscious mind in a search mission. You program your brain to filter information differently, to notice relevant details that others miss, and to connect dots that previously seemed unrelated. Throughout this book, we'll explore how this simple 3-letter word contains the power to transform your life from ordinary to extraordinary. We'll discover how asking with proper understanding activates forces within and around you that begin working tirelessly on your behalf. The forgotten power of asking awaits your discovery. It has always been available, hiding in plain sight within those 3 simple letters. Now is the time to reclaim this power and put it to work in your life. Lesson 2. The garden where thoughts become things. Have you ever considered that your mind is like a garden, not just any garden, but the most fertile soil imaginable, capable of growing the most magnificent creations known to mankind? This is what Jesus understood when he instructed us to ask. He wasn't merely suggesting a casual request thrown into the universe. He was revealing a profound law of life. Your thoughts are seeds, every single one of them, and like all seeds planted in fertile ground, they grow according to their nature. Plant apple seeds, and you'll never harvest oranges. This immutable law operates with perfect precision in the garden of your mind. Many people walk through life wondering why their circumstances never improve, never realizing they've been planting weeds instead of flowers in their mental garden. They ask for prosperity while planting thoughts of scarcity. They request health while nurturing ideas of sickness. They desire happiness while cultivating worries. The harvest always matches the seed. This is the law of cause and effect that governs our mental landscape. When Jesus said, "Ask," he was inviting us to be deliberate gardeners of our minds. Purposeful asking is like selecting the finest seeds, carefully planting them in rich soil and tending them with expectation. Wishful thinking, by contrast, is like tossing random seeds into unprepared ground and hoping something valuable might grow. Take a moment right now to examine what's currently growing in your mental garden. Look at your life circumstances, your relationships, your work, your health, your finances. These are the plants that have grown from seeds you've previously planted. Do you like what you see? If not, you have the power to plant new seeds today. I've discovered in my years of study that the human mind cannot remain empty. It will grow something. The only question is, what will you choose to cultivate? This is why I've often said, we become what we think about. This principle connects directly to the power of asking, because authentic asking directs your thinking. The master gardeners of life understand this. They carefully monitor what seeds they allow into their mental soil. They remove weeds of doubt, fear, and limitation as soon as they appear. They water their chosen thoughts with attention and expectation. They understand that a thought held consistently in mind produces after its kind. Consider the difference between someone who thinks, "I'll never get ahead," and someone who asks, "How can I create more value and prosperity?" Both are planting seeds, but one will harvest limitation while the other cultivates opportunity. This is not positive thinking. It's the practical application of mental laws. Jesus knew that the universe responds not to our words, but to the quality of thought. Seeds we plant in our mental garden. When we truly understand asking, we become conscious gardeners, selecting only those thoughts that will produce the harvest we desire. Your mind is waiting for your instructions. It will grow whatever you plant in it with remarkable faithfulness. This is the garden where thoughts become things. What will you choose to grow today? Lesson 3. Asking with clear intent. The most remarkable difference between those who achieve their heart's desire and those who merely dream is clarity. My friends, when Jesus taught us to ask, he wasn't suggesting we toss vague wishes into the universe, like coins into a wishing well. No, he understood a fundamental principle of this magnificent universe. Precision attracts precision. Consider the difference between saying, "I want to be happy," versus "I want to write a children's book that helps young readers understand courage." One is a foggy notion. The other creates a clear mental picture that sets specific forces in motion. The universe, like any good servant, needs clear instructions to deliver what you seek. I've observed throughout my years that vague requests receive vague answers. When you ask without specificity, you tell your remarkable mind that you haven't truly decided what you want. And what you haven't decided, you cannot receive. This is not mystical thinking, but practical psychology. Take a moment now to reflect on your current desires. Are they specific enough that you could explain them to a child? Could you draw a picture of what success looks like? If not, your asking lacks the power of clear intent. I recall a young man who came to me saying he wanted success. When I asked him to define what success meant to him specifically, he couldn't answer. 2 weeks later, after careful thought, he returned with remarkable clarity. "I want to build a company that creates educational toys that develop spatial reasoning in children, reaching 100,000 young minds in 5 years. Within 3 years, he had founded that very company. The difference wasn't luck or talent. It was the precision of his asking. Here's a practice I recommend. Take your deepest desire and write it down with such exactness that no one could possibly misinterpret your meaning. Use present tense, include numbers, dates, and sensory details. Feel the clarity wash over your mind as you refine general wishes into crystal clear requests. What happens when you do this is nothing short of remarkable. Your subconscious mind, that faithful servant, now has a blueprint to work from. Your eyes begin to notice opportunities related to your specific request. Your ears catch relevant conversations. Doors that were always there but previously invisible suddenly appear before you. Jesus understood this mechanism of mind. Ask and you shall receive wasn't merely comforting poetry. It was a practical instruction for engaging with universal law. but the asking must be clear, focused, and specific. I've seen lives transformed through this simple shift from fuzzy wanting to precise asking. A school teacher who wanted better work refined her ask to creating a reading program that helped struggling third graders gain 2 grade levels in comprehension within 6 months. Her principal approved her pilot program 2 weeks later. Your mind is the most powerful tool in creation, but like any sophisticated instrument, it requires clear instructions. Vague input creates vague output. Ask with clarity and watch as the forces of creation align to answer with equal clarity. Lesson 4. The difference between wishing, wanting, and willing. There exists a profound difference between those who merely wish for something, those who genuinely want it, and those who are truly willing to receive it. This distinction is what separates the achievers from the dreamers in this magnificent journey we call life. When Jesus taught us to ask and you shall receive, he wasn't suggesting a casual approach to our deepest desires. He understood the mechanics of achievement better than perhaps anyone who has ever lived. You see, wishing is the weakest form of asking. A wish is a fragile thing, a momentary fancy that floats through our minds like dandelion seeds on a summer breeze. Wouldn't it be nice if begins the wish and just as quickly as it appears, it vanishes, leaving no trace of its passing? Wanting represents a step upward. When we want something, we recognize its value in our lives. We begin to see how it might fit into our future. We speak of it occasionally, perhaps even with passion. But wanting alone is still insufficient to activate the universal laws that bring our desires into reality. Wanting is like standing at the edge of a pool on a hot day, dipping your toes in the water but never diving in. Willing, however, this is where the magic happens. To be willing means you have moved beyond mere desire into the realm of commitment. The willing person says, "This I shall have, and I accept all that comes with it." Willingness engages every fiber of your being. It aligns your conscious thoughts with your subconscious mind, your words with your actions, your beliefs with your behaviors. Consider the man who wishes for financial abundance. He occasionally fantasizes about wealth, but takes no concrete steps toward it. Then there's the man who wants financial abundance. He talks about it frequently, reads books on the subject, but stops short of making significant changes to his habits or beliefs. Finally, we have the man who is willing to receive abundance. He not only educates himself and speaks of his goals, but also reorganizes his life around them, adopts the mindset of the prosperous, and takes consistent action aligned with his desires. The difference in results among these 3 men will be as vast as the difference between their approaches. For as surely as the sun rises each morning, our lives reflect not what we wish for, or even what we wish for, or even what we willing to receive. When you ask with willingness, you activate forces beyond your conscious understanding. You enter into partnership with the creative power of the universe. Your asking becomes a form of commitment, a declaration that you are ready not just to receive what you desire, but to become the person who can properly steward it. Ask yourself honestly today, am I merely wishing? Am I simply wanting? Or am I fully willing? The answer will reveal much about what you can expect to manifest in your life. Remember, the universe responds not to the faintness of a wish or even the emotion of a want, but to the unshakable commitment of willingness. For when you are truly willing, you have already begun to receive, and nothing in heaven or earth can prevent the fulfillment of that which you have asked for with your whole heart. Lesson 5. Why most people's prayers go unanswered. The magnificent laboratory of life reveals a curious phenomenon. Millions ask, but few receive. Why is this so? The answer lies not in some cosmic stinginess, but within the very minds of those who ask. You see, when Jesus instructed us to ask, he understood the remarkable machinery of the human mind. This machinery operates with perfect precision, according to definite laws. When prayers and desires go unfulfilled, it's not because the universe fails to hear them. It's because our own psychological blocks jam the receiving mechanism. Consider this. Many of us carry hidden beliefs that directly contradict what we claim to want. A man might pray for financial abundance while secretly believing money corrupts character. A woman might ask for a loving relationship while unconsciously feeling unworthy of affection. These contradictory thought patterns create static that distorts our asking signal. Self-sabotage is perhaps the most insidious obstacle of all. We set our course toward a worthy goal, only to undermine our progress through fear, doubt, and negative self-talk. I've counseled countless people who wonder why their sincere prayers seemingly fall on deaf ears, only to discover they themselves have been blocking the very blessings they seek. The feeling of worthiness, or lack thereof, plays a crucial role in this process. When we ask without believing we deserve to receive, we create an impenetrable barrier. Jesus understood this psychological principle perfectly. Notice he didn't say, "Ask if you feel deserving enough." He simply said, "Ask." The implied message is that you, by your very nature, are worthy of receiving. To transform this situation, we must bring alignment between our conscious requests and our subconscious beliefs. This isn't accomplished through mere positive thinking. It requires honest self-examination. What do you truly believe about yourself? What unspoken assumptions might be contradicting your stated desires? I once knew a talented artist who prayed for success, yet sabotaged every opportunity. Upon reflection, she discovered a childhood belief that gaining attention through her art would make her selfish like a relative she despised. Once she recognized and addressed this hidden belief, her work began to flourish. The transformation of doubt into expectant faith is the master key that unlocks answered prayers. Faith isn't blind wishfulness, it's confident knowing. When you plant a tomato seed, you don't fret about whether it might grow into a cucumber. You know its nature determines its outcome. Similarly, when you plant a request in fertile soil of mind without contradiction, its fulfillment becomes natural. Remember this, your unconscious mind accepts what you consistently impress upon it. If you ask for prosperity, Monday but rehearse thoughts of lack Tuesday through Sunday. Guess which message takes root? The one you cultivate most consistently. Jesus understood that asking operates through natural law, not magical intervention. When we align our conscious desires with our subconscious beliefs, we remove the obstacles that block our good. Ask with clear intent, cleanse your mind of contradiction, and stand ready to receive. That is what Jesus really meant. Lesson 6. The Strange Secret of Answered Prayers. Most people are puzzled by the mystery of why some prayers seem to be answered while others fall flat. The difference isn't in the words themselves, but in the strange secret that operates behind the scenes. The principle of detachment. This might sound counterintuitive, but the truth often is, when Jesus taught us to ask, he understood a profound psychological and spiritual principle that most of us miss. When we ask with desperate need, with that white-knuckled grip of anxiety, we actually push away the very thing we desire. It's like trying to catch a butterfly. The tighter you squeeze, the more likely you are to crush the very beauty you're trying to hold. Consider for a moment. Have you noticed how the things you obsess over most desperately often remain frustratingly out of reach? Yet sometimes, the moment you finally give up and let go, they appear almost magically in your life. This isn't coincidence. It's the principle of detachment at work. Asking with confidence, rather than neediness, changes everything. It's the difference between a beggar pleading for scraps and a child confidently expecting his father to provide. Which do you think is more aligned with what Jesus taught? He didn't tell us to beg. He told us to ask, knowing we would receive. Think about Sarah, a woman I met who had been desperately seeking a life partner for years. The harder she looked, the more disappointed she became. It wasn't until she developed a rich, fulfilling life on her own and genuinely stopped needing someone else to complete her that she met her husband. Almost accidentally, her detachment opened the door that her desperation had kept firmly shut. This is the great paradox. We must care deeply about our desires while simultaneously releasing all attachment to how and when they will manifest. Like a farmer who plants seeds with care but doesn't dig them up every day to check their progress. We must trust the process. The most successful people I've known practice this art of caring without clinging. They set clear intentions, take appropriate action, and then, this is the crucial part, they let go. They trust that the universe, or God if you prefer, will bring about the best outcome in the perfect time. You can begin developing this healthy detachment today. Start by asking for what you desire with complete clarity. Feel the emotion of having already received it. Then, consciously release it. Then consciously release it, not with resignation, but with confident expectation. Say to yourself, this or something better is now coming to me in the perfect time and the perfect way. When you master this strange secret of answered prayers, you'll notice a profound shift in your life. Things you've long desired begin to appear, often in ways far better than you could have imagined. This is what Jesus understood when he taught us to ask, not as beggars, but as beloved children, confident in a parent's desire to give good gifts. Remember, the secret isn't in the asking alone, but in how you ask and what you do after you've asked. Ask once, with clarity and faith, then release your request completely to the capable hands of the universal laws that govern all creation. Lesson 7. Ask once, then listen. The world is filled with noise, friends. So much noise that we've forgotten one of the most powerful skills in the universe, the art of listening. When Jesus said, "Ask, and it shall be given you," he wasn't suggesting we badger heaven with endless repetitions of the same request. No, he understood a profound truth about the nature of creation itself. I've observed over many decades that most people ask repeatedly for the same things, as if the universe were hard of hearing. They plead, they beg, they worry their requests like a dog with a bone, and in doing so, they display their fundamental lack of faith in the very process they're trying to engage. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You plant it once, water it regularly, and then allow nature to take its magnificent course. Your asking works in precisely the same way. The greatest askers in history understand this principle. They make their request with crystal clarity and complete conviction. Once, then they shift into a receptive mode, listening with every fiber of their being for the answer that inevitably comes. This listening isn't passive. It's among the most active states you can achieve. It requires vigilance and openness. The answers to your asking rarely arrive in the package you expect. Often they come disguised as coincidences, unexpected opportunities, or even challenges that don't immediately appear beneficial. I remember a young woman who asked for financial abundance. Instead of receiving money directly, she received something far more valuable, an idea that eventually led to her financial freedom. Had she been demanding a specific form of answer, she might have missed the fortune that arrived in unexpected clothing. Listening requires patience. We live in an instant society, but the universe operates on its own perfect timetable. The farmer doesn't expect harvest the day after planting. He knows there's a season for everything. Your asking follows the same natural law. Develop your receptivity by creating moments of silence in your daily life. Turn off the television, put down your phone, and allow yourself to experience genuine quiet. In these still moments, the whispers of wisdom can finally reach you. Notice the subtle nudges you receive? That book someone mentions that seems strangely relevant. The conversation that triggers a new insight. The opportunity that appears just as you were thinking about a particular problem. These are not accidents. They are answers arriving in their perfect form. The master askers among us have learned that asking is only half the equation. Listening completes the circuit. They understand that once you've placed your request into the universe, with complete faith, your job shifts from asking to receiving. Remember, friends, the answers are already rushing toward you. Your only task is to create the space to receive them. Ask once, with perfect clarity and faith, then become a master listener. In that listening, you activate one of the most powerful forces in creation, receptivity, and in that receptive state, the answers you seek will surely find you. Lesson 8. When asking for yourself benefits everyone. There exists in many good people a curious reluctance to ask for personal success, abundance, and achievement. They've somehow come to believe that desiring good things for themselves is selfish or contrary to spiritual principles. Nothing could be further from the truth. When Jesus taught us to ask, he understood a magnificent principle that many of us have forgotten. Your personal achievement creates ripples of goodness that extend far beyond yourself. Consider the airplane safety instruction we've all heard. Put on your own oxygen mask before assisting others. This isn't selfishness. It's practical wisdom. How can you help anyone if you've passed out from lack of oxygen? In the same way, asking for your own success, abundance, and development isn't selfish. It's necessary for you to reach your full potential of service. The person who asks for business success doesn't merely receive financial rewards. That success creates jobs, provides valuable products or services, supports families, and generates resources that can solve problems. The doctor who asks for a thriving practice heals more patients. The teacher who asks for greater influence shapes more young minds. The artist who asks for wider recognition touches more hearts. I've counseled thousands who felt guilty about asking for personal abundance. They feared that focusing on their own achievement would somehow make them less spiritual or less concerned about others. But I've watched these same people, once successful, build hospitals, fund scholarships, support charities, and create opportunities for countless others. Your expanded capacity through personal success multiplies your ability to serve. Like a reservoir that must first fill before it can overflow to nourish the valley below, you must first develop your talents, resources, and capabilities before you can distribute them widely. Thomas Edison didn't apologize for asking for success with his inventions. Had he remained humble and small, how many would still be sitting in darkness? Henry Ford didn't feel guilty about building a successful automobile company. Had he remained modest in his asking, how many would have missed the freedom of affordable transportation? When you ask boldly for your own development and success, you're not taking from others. You're actually creating more for everyone. The universe operates on principles of abundance, not scarcity. Your success doesn't diminish others' opportunities. It expands the field of possibilities for all. Make your asking big enough to benefit yourself fully while naturally extending to benefit others. Ask not just for wealth, but for the wisdom to use it well. Ask not merely for success, but for success that solves problems. Ask not simply for achievement, but for achievement that inspires others. The greatest gift you can give the world is your fully developed self, operating at the height of your potential. So ask without guilt. Ask without guilt. Ask with the understanding that your cup must be full before it can overflow to others. Ask knowing that your success creates a rising tide that lifts all boats. When you ask this way, with both self-interest and service in mind, you align perfectly with what Jesus really meant when he encouraged us to ask. Lesson 9. The asking environment, creating fertile ground for your request. Have you ever noticed how some environments seem to nurture growth while others stifle it? A seed planted in rich soil with adequate sunlight and water will flourish, while that same seed tossed onto concrete will perish. The same principle applies to your asking. The environment in which you place your requests matters tremendously. This environment isn't primarily physical, though your surroundings can certainly influence your mindset, but rather it's the mental and spiritual atmosphere you create around yourself. When Jesus spoke about asking, he understood that our requests don't exist in isolation. They're influenced by the company we keep, the thoughts we entertain, the words we speak, and the beliefs we nurture. These elements form the soil in which our requests either take root or wither away. Consider the friend who constantly speaks of lack and limitation. When you share your aspirations with them, they immediately list all the reasons why your goals are impossible. Spend enough time in this environment, and your own asking becomes timid, restricted by invisible boundaries of doubt. Now contrast this with being around someone who believes in abundance and possibility. Their very presence seems to expand your thinking. Your requests become bolder, more inspired. They see pathways where others see obstacles. This is why Jesus often withdrew from crowds to pray. He understood the need to create space, mental and physical, where asking could occur without interference. He knew that the noise of doubt, fear, and limitation can drown out the voice of faith. You must become the gardener of your mental environment. Just as a gardener removes weeds that would choke out valuable plants, you must be vigilant about removing thought patterns, relationships, and influences that suffocate your asks before they can bear fruit. What news are you consuming daily? What conversations dominate your time? What beliefs about possibility have you inherited that may not serve you? These are not idle questions. They determine the fertility of the soil where you plant your requests. The mind responds to repetition and immersion. Surround yourself with examples of successful asking, with stories of prayers answered and dreams fulfilled. Read biographies of those who dared to ask greatly. Spend time with people who elevate your thinking rather than constrain it. You have tremendous power to shape this environment. You can choose what you read, what conversations you participate in, what you visualize, and how you speak. Each choice either enriches or depletes the soil of your asking. The asking environment also includes gratitude. Gratitude transforms the atmosphere around your requests. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, creating a positive expectancy that attracts more good. When you ask from a place of thankfulness rather than desperation, you align yourself with abundance rather than scarcity. The most powerful askers throughout history understood this principle. They created internal environments of faith, expectancy, gratitude, and vision, regardless of external circumstances. Their outer worlds eventually conformed to these inner conditions. Your asking can only rise to the level that your environment can support. Create fertile conditions and watch as your requests take root, grow, and bear fruit beyond your highest expectations. Lesson 10. The asking that transforms you. The greatest mystery of asking lies not in what you receive, but in who you become through the process. This is the hidden dimension that Jesus understood when he spoke those powerful words. When you truly ask, with conviction, clarity, and purpose, something remarkable happens within you before anything manifests in your external world. Consider for a moment the farmer who plants seeds in springtime. Long before the harvest appears, that farmer transforms into a different person. He becomes more observant of weather patterns. He develops patience. He cultivates faith in unseen processes. His character evolves through the very act of planting and tending his fields. So it is with proper asking. The moment you formulate a genuine ask, you begin shifting into the person capable of receiving what you've requested. This is a universal law that operates with perfect precision in every human life. Most people never realize that asking is not merely a transaction. It's a transformation. When you ask for greater abundance, you must become the kind of person who recognizes, appreciates, and can responsibly manage abundance. When you ask for improved relationships, you must become more loving, understanding, and generous yourself. I recall a young man from Milwaukee who desperately wanted to advance in his company. For years he had asked and hoped for promotion, yet remained stuck in the same position. When we examined his asking process, we discovered he was asking to be given something without becoming someone different. Once he shifted his asking to include his own transformation, how can I become more valuable to this organization? Everything changed. Within 6 months, he received the promotion he had sought for years. This principle operates whether you're asking for material prosperity, better health, improved relationships, or spiritual growth. The asking itself reshapes your perception, redirects your energy, and realigns your actions. You simply cannot properly ask without experiencing inner change. Jesus understood this profound truth. When he instructed us to ask, he wasn't merely offering a technique for getting things. He was providing a pathway for becoming. Each sincere request plants within us the seeds of its own fulfillment, changing our thought patterns, expanding our self-image, and elevating our expectations. I want you to try something remarkable today. Take your greatest desire and phrase it as a question about your becoming. What must I become to create this in my life? Then listen carefully for the answer that rises from within. This simple shift transforms asking from mere wishful thinking into a powerful catalyst for personal evolution. The universe responds not just to what you ask for, but to who you are. And the beautiful secret is that proper asking changes who you are. This is why Jesus emphasized asking as a cornerstone of spiritual practice. He knew that in the very act of authentic asking, we begin transcending our limitations and growing into the people we were designed to be. Remember, the most powerful asking doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes you. It changes you. And that is the miracle that Jesus was pointing us toward all along. Lesson 11. Asking without ceasing. When Jesus instructed us to ask, and it shall be given, he wasn't suggesting a one-time event, but rather a way of life. Friends, this continuous asking represents a state of mind, a perpetual awareness that we are always in conversation with the infinite intelligence that governs our universe. Think of it this way. The most successful people throughout history maintained a constant connection with their deepest desires and highest aspirations. They didn't merely ask once and then forget. They lived in a state of active expectancy, their minds consistently oriented toward their objectives. The wonderful truth is that this principle works whether you're a child asking for a bicycle or a business executive seeking to solve a complex organizational challenge. The law knows no favorites, plays no favorites, and responds to all who understand its operation. Most people, however, ask sporadically. They remember this principle during moments of crisis or special need, then return to mental slumber. But asking without ceasing means maintaining a clear channel of communication with the infinite, keeping your desires and goals firmly planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. I've observed that those who achieve remarkable results don't treat asking as an occasional activity. Rather, they cultivate a mindset of continuous receptivity. Their antennas are always up, tuned to receive guidance, opportunity, and answers that might arrive in unexpected forms. They recognize that life itself is a continuous response to the questions we consciously or unconsciously ask.
Consider the farmer who plants his seeds. He doesn't dig them up each day to check their progress, but neither does he plant and forget. He maintains vigilant care over his fields, providing water, removing weeds, and creating favorable conditions for growth. In the same way, your asking requires ongoing attention without anxious interference.
This continuous asking doesn't mean repeating the same request with mounting desperation. It means living in alignment with what you've asked for, making choices consistent with its arrival, and maintaining unwavering faith in the process. You ask not just with your words, but with your attitudes, your actions, and your expectant attention. Children understand this principle naturally. Watch a child who truly wants something. They don't simply ask once and walk away. Their entire being becomes oriented toward their desire. They think about it, talk about it, dream about it. Their asking permeates their consciousness without strain or struggle. What would happen if you approached your deepest desires with this same childlike persistence? Not with anxiety or impatience, but with genuine, unshakable expectancy.
Begin today to cultivate this attitude of asking without ceasing. Keep your mind focused on what you desire rather than what you fear. Maintain an inner dialogue that affirms the fulfillment of your asking. Live as though what you've asked for is already in the process of manifestation. Because in truth, it is.
The power of asking works according to immutable natural law. By asking without ceasing, you align yourself with this law and become an open channel through which abundance of all kinds can freely flow. Lesson 12. The Asking Revolution. The journey we've taken together through these pages has led us to a profound truth, one that can transform not just individual lives but our entire world. What Jesus meant when he said ask wasn't merely offering a casual suggestion. He was revealing a universal law as reliable as gravity itself. This final chapter isn't an ending, but a beginning, an invitation to join what I call the asking revolution. My friends, throughout history, every great movement began with someone who dared to ask for something different. Every invention, every breakthrough, every positive change started with the courage to ask a question nobody else was asking. Consider for a moment what our world might become if everyone understood and applied this principle correctly.
There's a reason why only a small percentage of people achieve remarkable success while others struggle. The successful few have mastered the art of proper asking, not just with their lips, but with their entire being. They ask with clarity. They ask with conviction. They ask with an unwavering expectation that what they've asked for is already theirs.
Imagine a world where children are taught from their earliest years how to ask properly, not for trivial things, but for their highest purpose. Picture communities where people ask together for solutions rather than complaining about problems. Envision a society where asking becomes the engine of positive evolution.
This revolution begins with you. Your new understanding places a responsibility on your shoulders. You now possess knowledge that many walk through their entire lives without grasping. What will you do with it? Will you keep it to yourself, or will you demonstrate its power through your example?
When you transform your life through proper asking, you become living proof of this principle. People will notice the difference. They'll wonder what changed, and in that moment of their curiosity lies your opportunity to share what you've learned. Start small, but think big. Ask first for clarity about your true purpose. Ask for the wisdom to use this principle responsibly. Ask for opportunities to share this truth with others who are ready to receive it. The most powerful revolution isn't one of force, but of transformed minds.
The truth about asking isn't new. It's as ancient as human thought itself. Jesus articulated it perfectly, but it appears in virtually every wisdom tradition throughout history. It works not because it's magical, but because it aligns with the fundamental laws that govern our reality.
As we conclude our exploration together, I challenge you to make a decision right now. Will you be a casual reader who found these ideas interesting, or will you be a pioneer in the asking revolution? Will you apply what you've learned consistently until it becomes as natural as breathing? The world needs what you now understand. People everywhere are asking incorrectly and wondering why nothing changes. You hold the key to their transformation. Share it generously, demonstrate it faithfully, and watch as this revolution of right asking spreads from person to person, creating the kind of world we all wish to see. Ask, and it shall be given. This is the promise. This is the power. This is the power. This is your invitation to a remarkable new way of living.